us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? And he said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? And he said... Certainly, Chandler and Hammett were very influential. Tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? Well, certainly, Chandler and Hammett were very influential. And he said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? Well, certainly, Chandler and Hammett were very influential because, again, they were writing film noir. I want to use that phrase, before we were making it.
Most were B movies made on the cheap.
They were writing film noir. I want to use that phrase, before we were making it. And
others were classic.
Way.
With a talent. But they all had one thing in common. They lived on the edge.
There's no question that reading his stuff, that's why we use a narration in that, because we wanted the Chandler flavor.
I just found out all over again how big this city is.
Told stories about life in the streets.
My feet hurt.
Shady characters, crooked cops, twisted love, and bad luck.
My mind felt like a plumber's handkerchief. The office bottle hadn't sparked me up, so I'd taken out my little black book and decided to go grouse hunting.
The French invented a name for these pictures. Film noir. Film noir. Black film, that's what they called them.
Hey, Glamour, the change for a dime, will you?
Let's have something quieter this time, Joe.
About a darker side of human nature.
Is that what's wrong with it?
About the world as it really was.
Okay, reality day by day. In other words, I didn't analyze them. I was affected by them. I related to them emotionally. The first film that I can remember that I had to do very clearly what I knew on a daily basis growing up in the Lower East Side was Force of Evil.
Done with your coffee?
No. And don't rush me, will you?
Hey, turn that off. Will you turn that thing off?
What's eating you now?
Blonsky's Force of Evil.
They said it was from the center, but when I was a center, I tended to rent a center. So then I send a friend, a freak out, and then I went to the center, and I was up there, but then I went running into this.
45 miles an hour.
Nothing like soft shoulders to improve my morale.
That music, it stinks. Oh, you don't like it, huh? No, turn it off.
Now, wait a minute, pal. That was my nickel, see? This is a free country. And I play whatever I wanted.
Sure, and if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it. And you can leave here anytime you want it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
First good piece played tonight and you don't like it. Some people just ain't got any good taste.
That tune. Why was there always that rotten tune? Following me around, beating in my head, never letting up. Did you ever want to forget anything?
It was about the numbers racket.
Soft Shoulders had a date, but she thought she could do something about that. I was going to check right back.
And it was about two brothers. It portrayed a world that I hadn't seen on film before.
Go milk a duck. Go milk a duck.
In a very honest way, too.
Violation 974 of the Penal Code. Policy, the numbers racket.
I grew up in a world that the images in film noir reflected. Nightlife, people drinking in bars, gambling.
You take the nickels and dimes and pennies from people who bet just like every other crook, big or little, in this racket. They call this racket policy because people bet their nickels on numbers instead of paying their weekly insurance premium. That's why policy.
There's something about the dead silence of an office building at night.
Hello? Here he comes. Here's the man. And when they, because I had to, and we also, and they tried keeping up, and it was too far, and we were running far away from, and they said, go, force, the force is calling us.
You make the film according to your mood, the circumstances, the way the story is written, the influence of the writer on you, the actors on you, and so on. And if they're reflecting this general sense of jeopardy in life, which is what exists in all of film noir.
Did you ever want to cut away a piece of your memory or blot it out? You can't, you know. No matter how hard you try. You can change the scenery. But sooner or later, you'll get a whiff of perfume where somebody will say a certain phrase or maybe hum something. Then get licked again. Those were the days.
I can't believe that you're in love with me. You're telling everyone you know that I'm on your mind each place you go. They can't believe that you're in love with me.
These people live right on the edge.
I have always placed you far above me.
Right on the edge.
I just can't imagine that you love me.
These people live right on the edge.
After all is said and done, to think that I'm the lucky one. I can't believe that you're in love with me.
Live right on the edge. Right on the edge. A lot of people identify.
Sunday I'm going away. Oh, I know you'll think it's silly. That's why I hesitated to tell you. But I'm going to California. I want to try my luck in Hollywood.
That's the most stupid thing I ever heard of. Don't you know millions of people go out there every year and wind up polishing cuspidors? I thought you had better sense.
You sound as if you don't think I have any talent.
That has nothing to do with it.
I'll make out all right.
Detour is quintessential noir insofar as it's so raw.
But what about me?
Detour is quintessential noir.
Does it mean anything to you that you're busting up all our plans?
Detour is quintessential noir.
We may not see each other for years.
Detour is quintessential noir insofar as it's so raw.
Be that long.
I thought you loved me.
I do. You know I do.
Detour is quintessential noir insofar as it's so raw.
Cross country was to thumb rides.
It's so exposed.
Only I'd known what I was getting into that day in Arizona. For even after hawking everything, I only had enough money to eat.
And this initiates a journey in which he, almost myth-like fashion, is picked up by a kind of messenger.
Money. You know what that is. It's the stuff you never have enough of. Little green things with George Washington's picture that men slave for, commit crimes for, die for. It's the stuff that has caused more trouble in the world than anything else we ever invented, simply because there's too little of it.
This man dies under mysterious circumstances.
At least I had too little of it. So it was me for the thumb. Ever done any hitchhiking? It's not much fun, believe me. Oh yeah, I know all about how it's an education, how you get to meet a lot of people and all that. But me, from now on, I'll take my education in college, or in PS 62, where I'll send $1.98 in stamps for 10 easy lessons.
The hero takes on the identity of a dead man.
Thumbing rides may save you bus fare, but it's dangerous. You never know what's in store for you. You hear the squeal of brakes. If only I had known what I was getting into that day in Arizona.
Here, throw that in the back seat. Okay, let's go. Make sure that door's closed.
You know, Emily Post ought to write a book of rules for guys thumbing rides. Because as it is now, you never know what's right and what's wrong. We rode along for a little while, neither one of us saying anything. I was glad of that. I never know what to say to strange people driving cars. Then, too, you can never tell if a guy wants to talk. A lot of rides have been cut short because of a big mouth. So I kept my mouth shut until he started opening up.
How far are you going?
L.A.
The most desperate thing you can do in film noir.
Wow, you're really traveling, aren't you?
Yeah, but I don't expect to make it for a couple of years at the rate I've been promoting rides.
Not much luck, huh?
Sure, all bad. Not many people stop for a guy these days. Afraid of a stick-up, maybe.
They can't blame him. Where you coming from?
New York?
Well, New York.
I saw it once he was dead. I was in for it.
You're in luck this time. I'm going all the way.
Who would believe he fell out of the car?
Right through to Los Angeles.
Detour
You drive a car?
is quintessential noir insofar as it's so raw. It's so exposed.
Yes, I was in for it.
There's nothing to comfort you.
Instinct told me to run, but then I realized it was hopeless.
If you're tired, let me know. I'll holler.
I guess at least an hour passed before I noticed those deep scratches on his right hand. They were wicked. 3 puffy red lines about 1/4 of an inch apart. He must have seen me looking at them because he said,
Beauties, aren't they? They're gonna be scars someday. What an animal. Whatever it was, it must have been pretty big and vicious to have done that. Right on both counts, New York. I was tussling with the most dangerous animal in the world. A woman. Must have been Tarzan's mate. Looks like you lost a bout. Certainly wasn't a draw. You know, there ought to be a law against dames with claws. Yeah. I tossed her out of the car in her ear. Was I wrong? With a lip to a tomato, you expect it to be nice, don't you? Yeah. After all, what kind of dame thumb rides? Sunday school teachers? Yeah. A little witch.
You enter the heart of darkness. It is a descent into hell.
You must have thought she was riding with some fall guy.
Both visually and internally.
And me, who's been booking horses around racetracks since I was 20.
From which you cannot escape until it's over with.
Not a million things like that. 2 million. Yeah.
until then I'd done things my way. But from then on, something else stepped in and shunted me off to a different destination than the one I had picked for myself.
I knew him better than you did.
Okay.
Shortly thereafter, he picks up a woman.
But when I pulled open that door...
Mr. Haskell, what's the matter? Are you hurt? Are you hurt, Mr. Haskell?
Start yourself. I'll listen to it. But I know what you're going to hand me even before you open your mouths. You're going to tell me you don't believe my story of how Haskell died and give me that don't make me laugh expression on your smug faces. I saw it once he was dead, and I was in for it. Who would believe he fell out of the car? Why, if Haskell came too, which of course he couldn't, even he would swear I conked him over the head for his dough. Yes, I was in for it. Instinct told me to run, but then I realized it was hopeless. There were lots of people back down the road who could identify me. That gas station guy, and the waitress. I would be in the worst spot then, trying to explain why I beat it. The next possibility was to sit tight and tell the truth when the cops came.
Who coincidentally knows his true identity.
He'd be crazy. He'd laugh at the truth. And I'd have my head in a noose. So what else was there to do but hide the body and get away in the car? I couldn't leave the car there with him in the gully. That would be like erecting a tombstone.
Believe you.
Entraps him.
My idea was to cover him with brush, not to rob him. But then I remembered that even if I only drove the car for 100 miles or so, I would need money for gas. Besides, it was stupid of me to leave all that money on a dead man. Not only that, I'd have to take his driver's license in case I was stopped for something. I didn't like to think about it. But by that time, I'd done just what the police would say I did, even if I didn't. My clothes. The owner of such an expensive car would never be wearing them. Some cop might pull me in on suspicion.
I'm a cheap crook.
Now, wait a minute.
Shut up. You're a cheap crook and you failed me.
I left nothing in the car to give me away as Roberts. If they found a dead man in the gully now, it could be me.
I kept imagining I was being followed and that I could hear sirens back in the distance. Just how long it took me to cover the 60-odd miles to the California state line, I don't know. I lost all track of time. But the rain had stepped up when I pulled up to the inspection station.
Hello? Carrying any fruits or vegetables? Any livestock or poultry? Let's see your registration and driver's license, please. Anything in the baggage compartment?
This baggage.
Charles Haskell, Jr., age 30, brown eyes, dark hair. Identifying marks, none. Are you Charles Haskell, Jr.?
Yes.
Well, remember, if you're employed and you stay over 30 days, you take out California plates.
All right, officer, but I'll only be in the state a short while.
Right, you can go now.
I couldn't drive any farther without some sleep.
For 2 cents, I'd change my mind and turn you in. I don't like you.
Please open the door. Here, open the door. Don't use the phone. Listen to me.
It's a character who is on a downward spiral.
No cops. I knew I had to hit the hay and hit it hard.
Frederick, careful you don't swallow that pin.
45 miles an hour.
Good never really ends. You're dreaming about that blonde again.
Pinch of low. Here I was, and then there I was, and then I came, and then was there, but could not see what was really there, so I stopped and looked, and then I was looking, but I couldn't see it, but then I thought I saw it, but it left me, but then I thought it came back to me, but then it
stopped. Remembering how low her voice is.
As was I going, officer?
You just put your lips together and blow.
How bad her grandma was at first.
45 miles an hour.
How you doing her English?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking for a good mystery on something off the beaten track, like the Maltese Falcon.
Well, that was a fascinating story. But here's one that has everything the Falcon had and more. It's Raymond Chandler's latest bestseller, The Big Sleep.
Why for you do this to me? I stand there and do nothing, and then there you are, and standing and feeling anger inside of me like never before.
You don't swallow that pin.
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Gotta know nothing good ever really ends.
Then you had Nicky Eyes.
What's up, guy?
And Mikey Francesi.
Oh, that guy, yeah, I want to see him.
I'd say around 90. Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
What's up, guy?
And Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice.
Suppose it doesn't take.
Remember,
Right.
now.
Go get the papers, get the papers.
Voice is how bad her grammar was at first, and how you taught her English.
What a picture that'll make.
First thing I want to get off my chest, my name isn't Bailey. It's Mark.
Oh, man. What's up?
Mind if I look at her?
Girl we saw in the bar.
What's up,
Jeff Mark?
I should have told you before. I meant to. I kept putting it off.
Sometimes I wonder what strange fate brought me out of the storm to that house that stood alone in the shadows.
It doesn't matter.
Suppose I let you off with a warning this time.
C'est avec un respectueux plaisir, je me souviens encore de la grâce toute royale que voulut bien me faire.
Right.
I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers.
There he was, and here he comes, and there he was, come...
Girl, I do not have the nerve to steal into a crowded bar on a Budweiser Super Bowl Sunday, shut off the TV, and a high-pitched voice announce an impromptu reading of my latest unpublished poetry. Would you like to hear some?
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Stupid.
The Big Song and
A
Dance.
gent by the name of Jack Fisher.
call ourselves detectives.
But that's not my kind of movie.
I was dead tired. There was no time to lose. Every minute I had to be Charles Haskell was dangerous. And I'd have to be Charles Haskell until I got to some city where I could leave the car and be swallowed up.
That's not my kind of movie.
Ha 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 ha!
That meant driving the car as far as San Bernardino, maybe even to Los Angeles. In a little town, I might be noticed, but in a city, I should be safe enough. Then, after I ditched the car, I could go on to Sue. But those 5 minutes at the state line made me realize it might be a good idea to find out a little bit about Mr. Haskell. Then, if anybody asked me questions, I could give the right answers. The first thing I found out was that I had $768. This was a lot of jack. But believe me, it was the kind of money I'd rather not have. Near the airport at Desert Center, I pulled up for water. There was a woman.
Hey, you! Come on if you want to ride.
How far are you going?
How far are you going?
That took me by surprise, and I turned my head to look her over. She was facing straight ahead, so I couldn't see her eyes. But she was young, not more than 24. Man, she looked as if she'd just been thrown off the crummiest freight train in the world. Yet, in spite of this, I got the impression of beauty. Not the beauty of a movie actress, mind you, or the beauty you dream about when you're with your wife, but a natural beauty. A beauty that's almost homely because it's so real. Then suddenly she turned to face me.
How far did you say you were going?
Los Angeles.
L.A.? L.A.'s good enough for me, mister.
That's what I was afraid of.
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing, just thinking out loud.
People get in trouble for doing that.
What's your name?
You can call me Vera if you like.
You live in Los Angeles?
No.
Where are you coming from?
Oh, back there.
Needles?
No.
Oh, sure, Phoenix. You look just like a Phoenix girl.
And the girls in Phoenix that bad?
The girl must have been pretty tired, because she fell asleep not 20 minutes after she stepped into the car. She lay sprawled out with her head resting against the far door, like Haskell. I didn't like that part of it much, but I didn't wake her up. It wasn't that this girl still worried me. I'd gotten over that funny feeling I had when she looked at me, which I put down. It's just my jangled nerves. with her eyes closed and the tenseness gone out of her. She seemed harmless enough. And instead of disliking her, I began to feel sorry for her. The poor kid probably had a rough time of it. Who was she anyway?
Hey, Tony! Get the fuck over here!
I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
He was taking his stride, but he had a friend who was a ball of fire.
Newspaper guys, wise guys, who do they think they're kidding?
I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
Just philosophy.
Every mile we go, you sweat worse with the same pain. Didn't I tell you all females are the same with their faces washed? As I probed into its mysteries, every clue told me a different story. But each had the same ending. Murder. Every instinct warned me to beware. There's something more dangerous, more deadly than I'd ever known before was in that room.
A guy can't even get shot in his own apartment by a thing without the whole town starting to buzz like you.
From which he cannot emerge.
And why was she going to Los Angeles? And where'd she come from in the first place? The only thing I knew about her was her name. Not that it made any difference. A few hours more and we'd be in Hollywood. I'd forget where I parked the car and look up Sue. This nightmare of being a dead man would be over. Who this dame was, well, it was no business of mine.
Where did you leave his body? Where did you leave the owner of this car? You're not fooling anyone. This buggy belongs to a guy named Haskell. That's not you, mister.
You're out of your mind. That's my name, Charles Haskell. I can prove it. It's my driver's
Save
license.
yourself the trouble, mister. Having Haskell's wallet only makes it worse. It just so happens I rode with Charlie Haskell all the way from Louisiana. He picked me up outside of Shreveport.
You rode?
You heard me.
Then it all came back to me. All the talk about dueling and scars and scratches. There was no doubt about it. Vera must be the woman Haskell had mentioned. She must have passed me while I slept.
Well, I'm waiting.
My goose was cooked. She had me. That Haskell guy wasn't dead yet. He wasn't stretched out stiff and cold in any Arizona gully. He was sitting right there in the car, laughing like mad while he haunted me.
Well?
There was nothing I could say. It was her move. Vera, whatever her name was, it was just my luck picking her up on the road. It couldn't have been Helen, or Mary, or Evelyn, or Ruth. It had to be the very last person I should ever have met.
And I'm going to get even with you.
And the more he tries to eradicate the situation, the worse it gets.
That's life. Whichever way you turn, fate sticks out a foot to trip you.
No, don't call the cops. Listen to me. I'll break the phone.
Myself.
I told her everything, but she didn't believe my story. I should have saved my breath.
That's the greatest cock and bull story I ever heard.
Come on, speak up, Sergeant. Settle down. The paper says you've lost drops, sir. The captain did hang it up in there. Well, what's the matter with your mouth? What's that? Top personal secret, never lets go. But 6 to an even, he swallowed it, his senior sorority pin. And suddenly, I wanted to see me.
I never found out much listening to myself.
Wanted to see me.
Maybe you were moving.
You know, a dame with a rod is like a guy with a knitting needle.
What's he doing here? Me? Wanted to see me?
You, our partner.
So you're a private detective? You're a private detective?
Did I ask why you didn't call the law? Should you? No, I guess not.
I didn't know they existed except in books, or else they were greasy little men snooping around hotel corridors.
Sergeant rescued them.
You mean to say, Captain, you calmly went through my papers?
Well, now, look, sir, the war's over. We want to know where we're going and why. We don't like secrets.
Ah, you're a mess, aren't you?
Happened to her?
She ran out of me.
With $40,000.
I want her back. All the money.
Tell Carter. Ah, you're a mess, aren't you?
Well, I guess I should have known better than try to hold back anything from having cooperated the way you have.
Everything is on the edge. Everything is on the edge. As a part of the edge. As a part of its stylistic
You know, I once
web.
spent $40,000 on a horse that ran dead last, so I bought the horse.
That's what I mean.
KPFA? Hello?
This is KPFA, KPF Berkeley, KFCF at Fresno.
The enemy lines.
Hello?
Don't say hello.
Oh, you're wrong. Put that horse in a nice green pasture, so he'd never get his foot caught in a mutual machine.
You should go out and visit it sometime.
How you doing?
No, I just went her back. When you see her, you'll understand better.
Maybe she's just an impulsive girl.
We'll let it go.
Stylistic web.
I just wanted to give General Steele the pleasure of seeing your faces when you heard it.
Steele? Cold Steele?
It was largely his doing that your recommendation went through.
For Johnny to get to Congressional?
I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
Go milk a duck. Go milk a duck.
Living on some kind of edge, moment to moment, saying some kind of edge, moment to moment, some kind of edge, moment to moment, saying, oh, we're committing now. This is how we're going to see this scene.
I'm not very tall either.
Not the best to put on the air.
Next time I'll come on stilts, wear a white tie and carry a tennis racket.
I doubt if even that would help. I keep going, hello? Now, this business of Dad's, think you can handle it for him?
Fell out of his car.
Never mind.
Can you feel this? What is that, Rosie? Are you now? Or have you ever been? Move slowly.
He said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir?
PHX, this is Inner Control. You're off point 017 to the right. Correct it, please. Make the correction, THX.
Who do you think you're talking to, a hick? Listen, mister, I've been around, and I know a wrong guy when I see one. What'd you do, kiss him with a wrench?
Now, wait a minute. What I told you was true. You see, that's why I had to do it. You think I killed him. Well, the cops would have thought so, too.
Yeah, well, maybe they still think so. makes you so sure I'll shut up about this?
Vera, I'm innocent. Give me a break, will you?
It won't do me any good having you benched. The cops are no friends of mine.
There's some complete wackiness in a film like Detour.
Now, if there was a reward, but there isn't.
Thanks.
Thank me yet.
Yes, I was in for it.
There's nothing to comfort you.
Not through with you by a long shot.
Thing told me to run,
Why should I believe you?
but then I realized it was hopeless.
You got all the earmarks of a cheap crook.
A descent into hell, both visually and internally, from which you cannot escape until it's over with.
Wait a
Shut
minute.
up. You're a cheap crook and you killed him. For 2 cents, I'd change my mind and turn you in. I don't like you.
All right. Don't get sore.
I'm not getting sore. But just remember who's boss around here. If you shut up and don't give me any arguments, you'll have nothing to worry about. But if you act wise, well, mister, you'll pop into jail so fast it'll give you the bends.
I'm not arguing.
Well, see that you don't.
It's a character who is on a downward spiral from which he cannot emerge.
Oh, as crooked as you look, I'd hate to see a fella as young as you wind up sniffing that perfume that Arizona hands out free to murderers. And I'm gonna get even with you. Of course you're not.
And the more he tries to eradicate the situation, the worse it gets.
He'll knock his own head off.
You fell, that's how it happened, just like I told you.
Sure, and then he made you a present of his belongings.
I explained why I didn't do that.
Doesn't make a difference one way or another. I'm not a mourner. I like Haskell even less than I like you.
No, don't call the cops. Listen to me. I'll break the phone.
Leslie? Hello there.
Leslie, go get. How are you?
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, we get this freak downtown.
Just philosophy. I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
Yeah, I saw what you did to him.
What do you mean?
Shouldn't be too tough.
Scratches on his wrist.
Sure, I scratched him.
Really? I would have thought a case like that took a little effort.
I'll say you did.
So your idea was to drive the car a little way, maybe into San Bernardino, and then leave it. You weren't going to sell it?
Sell it? You think I'm crazy? Somebody else's car? See, all I want to do is leave it somewhere and forget I ever saw it.
Not only don't you have any scruples, you don't have any brains.
There's some complete wackiness in a film like Detour.
I'll get you.
Maybe it's a good thing you met me. You'd have got yourself caught, sure. Why, you dope. Don't you know a deserted automobile always rates an investigation?
Huh?
There's the wackiness of getting a murder scene with a phone cord and someone yanking the stuff, and on that level is quite Three Stooges, quite Marx Brothers, quite completely surrealistic.
Look, the cops find a car. Then they get curious. They wonder where the owner is. So, all right, they don't trace Haskell. They trace you.
I never thought of that.
The only safe way to get rid of the car is to sell it to a dealer. Get it registered under a new name. Say, stop at the next store. I want to get a bottle and do some shopping before we hit L.A.
Okay. As soon as we find a place, I'll drop you off and pick you up here.
Nothing doing. You're coming in, too. From now on, you and I are like the Siamese twins.
Have it your way. I don't get the point.
$5,000. I could buy myself a farm, get a couple of chickens, and lay my own eggs. I could buy myself a farm, get a couple of chickens, and lay my own eggs. I could buy myself a farm, get a couple of chickens, and lay my own eggs.
It's sloppy, it's smelly, it's disreputable. That's what's nice about film noir, is that it's really disreputable filmmaking.
I don't want you to get lost.
I'm not going to beat it if that's what you're afraid of.
It's sloppy.
You're not? Well, I'm going to see that you sell this car so you don't get caught.
It's smelly.
Thanks.
It's disreputable.
Of course, your interest wouldn't be financial, would it? You wouldn't want a small percentage of the profits.
Well, now that you insist, how can I refuse? 100% will do.
Fine. I'm relieved. I thought for a moment you were going to take it all.
I don't want to be a hog.
I was recognizing places Sue had written about. It struck me that far from being at the end of the trip, there was a greater distance between Sue and me than when I started out.
But life's like a ball game. You gotta take a swing at whatever comes along before you wake up and fall.
I bet you read that somewhere.
I'm not interested in philosophy. I'm trying to solve a murder.
That's what's nice about film noir. It's that it's really disreputable filmmaking.
What's the trouble with you, Roberts? All you do is bellyache. Taking it easy and we're trying to make the best of things. Maybe that's what's wrong with the whole world. People knock themselves out trying to buck fate. Now take you, for instance. You're lucky to be alive. Why, suppose Haskell was pulled up in your door. You'd be playing a harp now. Think of that.
You think of that.
It's sloppy. It's smelly. It's disreputable.
That's a neat trick if you can do it.
That's what's nice about film noir. It's that it's really disreputable filmmaking.
The last scene in Detour?
All right, Miss Graham. This is the girl.
Have you ever seen a love light in a lady's eye, and then suddenly watch it vanish away? If there's trouble in your love life, well, my friend, get wise. Or as we magicians would say, now you see it, now you don't. It goes hocus pocus alakazam. That's love, that's love. Try to kiss her, first she won't, and then presto, change-o, fiddle-de-dee. Your hand in glove. One moment she's making you see canaries in the air. Next moment, instead of a heart, the ace of spades is there. Now you see it, now you don't. Because hocus pocus, lo and behold, you get blinded by that moon of bright gold above. That's love. Now you see it, now you don't. Because hocus pocus, lo and behold, you get blinded by that moon of bright gold above. That's love.
And people ask me why I back Sherman. Oh, thank you, Mr. Fletcher, very much for digging her.
For 10%, I dig up my wife's mother.
And then, tomorrow night, then.
How was I?
Okay, he's hooked. Come on, change your duds relate.
Not quite real.
Why don't you tell me what this is all about?
The traffic down below was something that didn't have anything to do with me.
Takes time. Hurry.
Who knows what the forces are in society that instigate these changes?
I'll be right back.
This is a snatch. Don't take me over the state line.
But there was a style that started in the 40s
Graham, Senator Burnett.
by the young directors,
Senator.
some of whom were my contemporaries, others had preceded me.
You're the mystery.
And it was a much more realistic approach
The mystery about me.
to filmmaking.
Mr. Hitler, the voters got stuck with. Miss Graham get the job?
Yeah, and I think Gates is hooked.
I shouldn't wonder. I am, too.
No, Senator, I have a boyfriend.
And she don't mean me. Well, goodbye.
And to the kind of heroes that we were used to seeing before. These were more real people, heroes that had flaws in their characters.
Do senators usually have conferences in automobiles?
Then it's a correct representation of the anxiety caused by the system.
Hotel rooms have walls, and walls sometimes have dictaphones.
You know, sometimes you feel as though you're dying. Here. And here. Here. You're dying while you're breathing.
And this is what this picture is about.
We're not always just the knight in shining armor, Mr. Clean. They had other emotions and other goals.
How circumstances become more and more unendurable.
Know about my committee? Read the papers?
Movie columns, gossip columns, football.
How about your history books? Remember Benedict Arnold?
Sure. The first all-American heel.
There's a handful of those heels in this country today, and they're powerful enough to sabotage our defense. We're trying to expose them.
It's okay by me.
My committee thinks Gates is one of them.
Him? The nightclub angel?
In the daytime, he's an executive at Nitrochemical. In between times, he's been seeing men that are suspected of being foreign agents. Yet our investigators can't turn up anything definite.
And that's where I come in?
I'm a little beat for this kind of work.
Will you give it a try?
And it must be you.
Hey, what have you done?
Great Noir poses the question, why me? Why is this happening to me? And the very dark answer that it provides, an almost unacceptable answer, for no reason. For no reason. For no reason at all.
Buddy, you look like you're in trouble.
Because Noir is concerned with error.
Not much. Oh. The usual one. Comes complete with diagrams on page 47 of how to be a detective in 10 easy lessons, correspondence school textbook. And your father offered me a drink.
You know, I think you're nuts.
I gotta say, there's plenty of people dying this minute. I would give anything to trade places with you. I know what I'm talking about.
Well, it isn't exactly like deciding to go to a beauty parlor.
I'm not so sure. At least they know they're done for. They don't have to sweat blood wondering if they are.
With confusions.
You go barging around without a very clear idea what you're doing.
Like I'm in a frame.
Everybody bats you down, smacks you over the head.
Don't sound like you.
Phil's, you're full of stuff.
I don't know. All I can see is the frame.
And you keep right on hitting between tackle and end.
I'm going in there now and look at the picture.
I don't think you even know which side you're on.
It's the Noir idea.
I don't think you even know which side you're on.
We don't know what's going on.
I don't know which side anybody's on.
But we do know something bad is out there.
Worried about the boyfriend?
No, I don't know what he'll think when he sees me with 4 other fellows.
I don't either. But if you go through with this, you can't tell anybody. Not even him.
What do I do?
Everything is prepared for the gas mask rehearsal, sir. We're ready in the processing plant, sir. At 8 tomorrow morning, everyone will be wearing a gas mask.
All right, then, just back off THX 1138.
Shipping, Mr. Brewster.
Second.
And my department, sir. I didn't quite hear you, sir. Mr. Brewster says that's excellent.
It was all very queer. But queer things were yet to come. Queer. But queer things were yet all very queer. It was all very queer. It was all very queer. But queer things were yet to come.
But they all had one thing in common. They lived on the edge.
And the convention. I've actually been the first thing you said.
They're all 7-11 guys. It depends only on the talent of the player, not the luck. I was only returning your compliment. You shoot honestly, we give you honest dice. Open up the table. You won't mind if I watch, I hope. Not at all, if you think you can take it.
It's the Noir idea.
Find it, Jeff. Bring it back. Why wait? Well, I know a lot of smart guys and a few honest ones.
For their own protection, see to it that all my employees take this rehearsal seriously.
What's the house limit?
Another one on how to be a comedian.
We shoot 2,000.
Another one on how to be a comedian. Another one on how to be a comedian.
What happened, sir? You know what I said about the drink?
I'm quite serious, Mr. Marlowe. My father tried to help you, so.
Give me the stuff on it. Family, pictures, anything interesting. You'll get it. I'll see you. You bring it over.
No, I don't think there is to be cagey.
Oh, by the way.
I don't like your manners.
Mind telling me your name?
And I don't like your manners.
Yes, and Martha.
And I don't like your manners.
These people live right on the edge.
Your system, Dusty. Once more and we're even.
Most of it is stuff what we have.
Well, we'll get even.
I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers. The papers, get the papers.
Twice late.
I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers.
Everything twice late.
I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers.
I don't even know who's playing today.
And also, there seemed to be more interest in the kind of the underbelly of society, the dark corners and quirky alleys that we were getting into then. We were exploring.
Well, I'm not crazy about yours. I didn't have to see you.
Your philosophy stinks, pal. You're the only family I have.
We all know we're going to kick off someday. It's only a question of when.
Those avenues, which really up to that time were more or less avoided.
It's the noir idea.
What got us on this subject anyway?
I don't know. All I can see is the frame.
We'll be discussing politics next.
Smart guy, that story. Not you, Johnny. Why not? Am I going along? No, I'm going in there now and look at the pictures.
Personnel.
It's the noir idea.
That's all.
Here's where you get the boat.
Mr. Brewster, I don't know quite how to tell you.
You're a bumbling idiot, Kate. I gave you a job to do involving millions, and you botched it.
I didn't botch it, sir. Here's Baker's letter and the formula.
Raven got those, and then you let him slip through your fat fingers. Is that all?
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't know whether they're working together or not, but there was a girl on the train with Raven.
You know anything about her?
She's a performer I just hired for my nightclub.
Apparently you want to commit suicide.
I didn't know that when I hired her. And now I'm afraid to turn her over to the police. They wouldn't believe anything Raven said, but they might believe her.
You're a fool. Get out of that club of yours. Take her out somewhere. Find out all about her. And get out of here.
What's the matter? You look like you've been on a hayride with Dracula. You're not kidding. Long distance, please. Who are you calling? A cop. On long distance? My cop. He's in San Francisco, please. Person-to-person call Lieutenant Michael Crane, police headquarters. Say, what's this all about, anyway? 5,000 banknotes.
Races, guys, races. Ruby, races.
See you later, honey.
Come on, guys, hurry up, line up.
Yes? He just left town. No.
For me, the great noir films are films about fall guys, a person who finds himself caught in a net.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Where is he with the house? I trust you don't think there's anything wrong with the dice. I never
On the
think
table, sucker.
I don't mind if you don't like my manners. I don't like them myself. They're pretty bad. I grieve over them long winter evenings, and I don't mind you ritzing me or drinking your lunch out of a bottle. But don't waste your time trying to cross-examine me.
Each other with conversation for a couple of hours longer.
People don't talk to me like that.
Every 5 minutes, one of us was wishing we had another bottle or a radio or something to read.
Oh.
Then finally, we ran out of chat.
You always think you can handle people. Train sealed.
I know it's only 11 o'clock, but I want to get up early and make the rounds of the used car lots.
I usually get away with it, too.
Don't worry about that. We got all the time in the world.
How nice, Tom.
I'm wasting your time. Goodbye, Mr. Rutledge. One thing I can't stand is the famous drop. But I mean, they turn my stomach. No good to themselves or anybody else. Got the shake, Steve. So she has a drink to get rid of it. One tastes so good, so she has another one. First thing you know, she's stinko again.
You gave me my first kiss.
No. What's all my fault now? No, so it's all my fault now.
You gave me my first.
No, so it's all my fault now. Everybody has their first drink, don't they? But everybody ain't a lush.
I'm not.
I'd have known what you're like, you wouldn't have been there. It can be. Now, what does that remind me?
Well, don't you remember? I was in a song. She used to sing it.
Yeah, that's right. No, I gave her a first chance, took her out of the chorus, made her a singer. Mention that while you're at it. Why ain't you a singing star instead of a lush?
See, Johnny, I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Now, look, Kay, why don't you give us your old song, huh?
You mean right now?
Yeah.
I can't.
Ah, sure you can.
Please, Johnny, don't make me.
I won't make you do anything. Tell you what, I got a proposition for you. Now, you sing us some songs you can have with her. What's wrong? Four red copies. In 10 minutes, take 2 more. Hope is on the way.
Can I have the first?
No, the song. Then the thing.
What's wrong? Without any accompaniment?
Now, look, do you want a drink or don't you?
I want you to take a visual record of this.
Well?
My gowns are gorgeous. Always float at Berkeley KPFA. I wore hardly any makeup. Just some lipstick, that's all. No lights. Just a baby spot. I wouldn't have any entrance. They'd play the intro in the dark, and a spot would come on. And there I'd be.
Well, go ahead, sing.
Moaning low, my sweet man is gonna go. When he goes, oh Lordy, he's the kind of man, he's the kind of woman like me. Give me that drink now, Johnny. What?
I was here, and then I said that I went with her.
Miss Graham, please.
Coming.
I've got you right where I wanted you, dangling on my leg. I've got you, and I'm enjoying it fine. You had me right where you wanted me. That's the way I love. You had me, but the tables have turned. I was 1 out of 50 in your address book. Oh, what a spot you had me in. But today you're the sucker for the shiny hook, and you'll never wriggle off. You can bet your bottom fin that I've got you right where I wanted you, dangling all my life. I've got you, and I'm enjoying it hard, 'cause I'm not yours anymore, you're mine. 'Cause I'm not yours, you're mine.
Do you know anything about this grand girl?
What's the matter? Don't you like her act anymore?
Charming. Suppose you break rehearsal for a few minutes. I want to talk to her alone.
All right, girls. 10-minute break.
Maybe you have, but if you think I want to stay cooped up in this place any longer than I have to...
Not say plenty for days like this in New York.
Like it if it was a risk. You got a mean cough. Want to do something about it.
I'll be all right.
That's what Camille said. Nobody you know.
Wasn't that the dame that died of consumption?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a break for you if I did kick off? You'd be free with all Haskell's dough and car.
I don't want to see anybody die.
Not even me.
Especially not you. One person died of me. You did. Well, that's all I need.
You don't like me, do you, Robert?
Like you. I love you. My favorite sport is being kept prisoner.
After we sell the car, you can go to Blazes for all I care, but not until then. I'm going to bed. Good night, Robert. Don't try and sneak away during the night. All the doors are locked. Anyway, if I find you gone in the morning, I'll notify the police. They'll pick you up.
No.
Yes.
No, I won't do it.
Yes, you will.
You think I'm crazy? It's impossible, I tell you.
Excuse me. Blow the horn when you're through.
No one could possibly get away with an act like that. It'd be wise to me in a minute.
Don't be, you look enough like him. The same coloring and the same build. See how his clothes fit you? No kidding, you almost had me fooled for a while.
Oh, grow up, Vera. Don't you think a father knows his own son? And there must be other relatives.
The father won't have to know you. We'll wait till he gives up the ghost. He's an old geezer and he won't pull through. And as far as other relatives are concerned, they haven't seen you in 15 or 20 years. Eat.
I'm not hungry. I won't do it.
It's not as tough as it sounds. Remember, you've got all kinds of identification. His car, letters, license.
I could never get away with it. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The old boy has scads of dough. Look in the paper there. Personal fortune assessed at over $15 million. He'll leave plenty, I tell you.
Maybe he cut off his son. How do we know? It's out, Vera. I won't have anything to do with it.
I think you will.
Look, Vera, I'll do anything within reason. But not that. So forget it. Find yourself another stooge.
You sap. You'll be fixed for the rest of your life as Charlie Haskell. You can take your inheritance and go away. No more worrying about the rent, no sweating, scheming, wondering where your next meal's coming from. Think about that, Robert.
Vera, please, you're talking too loud.
On this, I'm splitting 50-50 with you. Sure, why not? We're both alike, both born in the same gutter.
Now, take it easy, Vera. There's people around here. You don't know what you're talking.
We'll wait till we read that old man Haskell's dead. And you show up. Like you read in New York that he was sick.
No. Suppose he doesn't die.
He will. I know he will. Something tells me.
But as much as I insisted I would have no part of her scheme, Bill was taking it for granted I would.
Want another drink?
You're being a goon. That's the way people wind up behind the 8 ball. Once they get a few dollars, they become greedy and want more.
My.
Caesar.
Who?
You know that Roman general? He got his for being greedy. He wasn't satisfied, so the final wind-up was he took the count. A couple of days ago, you didn't have a dime. Why, you were so broke you couldn't pay cash for a postage stamp. Now you've got almost $700 with $18.50 in the offing. Take my advice. Don't try for more.
I'm tired of this game. Let's have some blackjack.
Play solitaire.
Okay, I will if that's the way you feel about it.
That's the way I feel about it.
Getting sore and throwing things won't help much, Robert. I'm merely doing you a favor. I help you out of a jam by keeping my mouth shut. I show you how to make some soft money. And what thanks do I get?
Thanks.
Sure. I would you rather call the cops and told him you killed the man and stole his money?
I didn't kill him.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You know I didn't.
All right, then. Suppose I call the cops. If you're innocent, what do you got to be scared of?
Okay. Call them, Mud. Go ahead and call them, see if I care. At least they'll give me a square deal.
You want me to call?
You heard me. But I'm warning you. If I'm pinched, I'll swear you were innocent. I'll say that you helped me. If I fly, I'll get even with you.
You wouldn't dare. You didn't.
Yeah? Then try it and see. Call them. Yeah.
The last scene in Detour?
The more he struggles, deeper and deeper he becomes entwined in nightmare.
Suddenly, she wasn't drunk anymore. No.
Can you hear me?
No.
I'm so scared. I don't know if I should talk. Okay. I was walking through a field in pitch black darkness, and all of a sudden, out of the trees came something I can never explain to anyone, but I'm about to do it. Red lights like blood, lights like you've never seen ever. They blinded me with their dark redness, and I fell to the floor. Suddenly, I was lifted into the sky as if I was a bird. I found myself like that, and then I didn't know what to do, so I tried climbing, but all I did was slide down drippy ooze. Oh no, I was thinking, help, where am I? Is it all a dream?
What?
You did it.
But you were right. Her hand was steady and she was cool. Like somebody making funeral arrangements for a murder.
Did you ever want to forget anything? Did you ever want to cut away a piece of your memory and blot it out?
A certain kind of hard film full of difficult emotional things and explosions of emotional drama and anxiety was popular in the sense that people went to the movies to see that kind of thing.
If you go back and look over the plots of film noir, you discover that more than a quarter of the total films have protagonists who identify themselves as war vets. And what he discovers when he comes back from the war is not a secure place in society, but rather quite the opposite.
Multiplied and magnified, the insecurity of modern man has been tragically demonstrated in the catastrophe of total war.
One sees it, in a sense, as the continuing experience of wartime trauma.
Your angel today.
Fine. Is our date still on?
I'll be with you the minute rehearsal is over.
Suppose we have dinner at my house in Hollywood.
I'll drive you back here in time for the first show.
Yes, indeed.
You know what this is?
Yes, indeed. That's Hollywood. On the hills. You can hitch a ride if you're broke.
Thanks.
When I was a little boy and the rain came down like that, my mother used to say, God is angry at someone. He couldn't be angry at you, could he?
I don't remember bending any commandments.
You know, you're a very intriguing girl. I want to know all about you.
That's a big little word. Oh.
Well, practically all.
What's the matter?
So you do know him.
What are you talking about?
You were with Raven on that train. I saw you.
What have you got to do with him?
He's after me, and you're helping him. He'll use that gun, the gun he used on Baker. Why did you get mixed up in this? I'm a peaceful man. I hate violence. But don't think I won't protect myself.
I don't understand it. That girl's so nuts about you that I'm sick of hearing about it. Now, all of a sudden, she rambles off with that fat wolf. Why? If I were you, lover, I'd scram right out there. That girl's resting by now, or I'm no judge of character.
Yeah, thanks.
Never even scratched it. We're a cinch. In a couple of hours, the bridge over the reservoir will be deserted.
In a domestic situation,
now we start looking at each other again. We don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know what's supposed to happen. We don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know what's supposed to happen. We don't know what we're supposed to do. We don't know what's supposed to happen. We're too used to fighting. But we just don't know what to fight.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know anything about it.
You can feel the tension in the air.
It's a work of art.
Psychiatry was just being discovered in this period. The refugee psychoanalysts coming from Europe came to Hollywood, spread the faith, and it sort of reached the filmmakers.
Please, I'm sick. Can't you see I'm sick?
The ropes come off. I tie sash waist to her ankles with soft catgut.
Please, that's a horrible word.
Well, get the angle on it. She disappears. 2 weeks, maybe 3. And up she pops. None of this stuff on her anymore. No mom. A suicide. That was not beautiful.
You're sick, all right.
Seemed to offer an explanation to things.
We got into this business of making more hard-bitten, realistic stories with clever twists in the plot.
Now you're in custody. You have nothing.
It was
more.
newer then, and people thought that that's what drove people crazy.
Perfectly sane.
I'd rather be insane and alive. Insane. Dead.
it started with prohibition. The line between legal and illegal got fuzzy. Nightlife went underground.
That made it even more seductive.
Adrian tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? And he said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? And he said, tell us about film noir. I said, what's film noir?
He has fought, he has died, just the same as all the rest. He's not the worst, he's not the best.
Told stories made on the cheap. Others were classic ones with A-Town. But they all have one thing in common. We moved on the years. We moved on the years. We moved on the years. The French invented a name for these pictures, film noir. Black film, that's what they called them. Film noir. Black film, that's what they called them.
Right on the edge. These people live right on the edge. Live right on the edge. Right on the edge. A lot of people identify.
Loads of them. But we still never see. Don't worry, I'll take the other car.
Okay, I will. Information? I want the number to Hollywood police station.
Film noir.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Black film, that's what they called them.
What's it?
As a part of its stylistic web.
When they find a...
That things were never as they seemed to be. That things were never as they seemed to be.
And dangerous.
That things were never as they seemed to be.
Wait a minute, Vera. You wouldn't do that.
Oh, wouldn't I? Give me that and I'll show you if I would.
Take it easy now. Let's talk this over.
Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
How fast was I going, officer?
This was early in the evening, and the conversation, while hectic, was at least pitched low. But as the minutes passed, and more obstacles to her plan popped into my head, the air got blue. Each word coming from our lips cracked like a whip. I reminded her that as Charles Haskell, I didn't even know my mother's name, where I'd gone to school. The name of my best friend. Whether I had an Aunt Emma or not. My religion. And if I'd ever owned a dog. I wish that guy with the sax would give up. Gets on my nerves.
Have a drink.
I wish that guy with the sax would give up. Gets on my nerves.
Forget it. Have a drink.
I wish that guy with the sax would give up. Gets on my nerves.
Forget it. Have a drink.
I wish that guy with the sax would give up. Gets on my nerves.
Forget it. Forget it.
Have a drink.
I wish that guy with the sax would give up.
Gets on my nerves.
Forget it.
There was always a surprise. In almost every scene, we had a surprise that you were shocked. That this is not a detective, this is a killer.
We could travel that world safely in the pulp magazines with writers like Raymond Chandler and their private eyes.
This is not a killer, this is a detective.
And with a novelist like James Cain, we could find ourselves sucked into a twisted triangle of love, betrayal, and murder. We knew crime had the power of absolute seduction.
Here's your crime.
Crime is only a left-handed form of human endeavor.
Experience has taught me never to trust a policeman. Just when you think one's all right, he turns the tip.
Okay, between me and the reservoir.
I didn't even know what my middle initial stood for.
For Neptune till you come.
Everybody is wearing a different hat.
Well, it was about 7 o'clock. Anyway, it was dark. What are you doing at the office that late? I'm a homing pigeon. I always come back to the stinking coop no matter how late it is. I've been out peeking under old Sunday sections for a barber named Dominic, whose wife wanted it back. I forget why. The only reason I took the job was because my bank account was trying to crawl under a duck.
You were watched. I didn't see anything. I felt it. In my stomach. I was a toad on a wet rock.
I also pointed out that the real Haskell had a scar on his forearm.
Suddenly. And you don't know whether they're telling the truth or not telling the truth. But
You know, you're all upset over nothing.
that kind of milieu that we were getting into, which we had never really done before.
Eat a good genital. Calm you down. Such a lovely body.
My name is Jeff Martin, and I haven't talked to anybody who hasn't tried to sell me something.
It's revolting.
If I don't talk, I think.
Raven!
Too late in life for me to start thinking.
I want to talk to you.
I could get down to the cliff and look at the sea like a good tourist. It's no good if there isn't somebody you can turn to and say, nice view. The same with the churches, the relics, the moonlight, or a Cuba Libre. Nothing in the world is any good unless you can share it.
Maybe you ought to go.
Maybe that's why I'm here.
His people never saw that scar. He told me he ran away right after putting out the kid's eye.
Father knew he was cut. It had to be some kind of a mark.
The old man's dead, or will be. I hope by tomorrow morning's papers. Anyway, you could cut yourself a little, couldn't you? Boy, for that kind of dough, I'd let you cut my leg off.
Uncle, you crazy mad girl. You want to, but I won't get mixed up in this. Besides, how do we know Haskell was such a phony? Maybe he wasn't the man son at all. Maybe he just dreamed it up.
Dreaming or not, you won't be dreaming when the law taps you on the shoulder. There's a cute little gas chamber waiting for you, Robert.
Is it? Well, there's always Jose Rodriguez. If it gets too lonely, there's a little cantina down the street called Pablo's.
A snake was living at the back of my neck.
Oh, no, not
He was the first one to say, I didn't mean it really, I was just trying it on for size.
I was just trying it on for size.
He was the first one to say, I didn't mean it really, I was just trying it on for size.
Just trying it on for size. A lot of things still don't fit.
You're bottled up. You can't get out.
The film Big Combo, with Nick Conti kissing her on the eyebrow and then on the cheek and then on the chin and then on the neck. And all the time the camera's moving in on her close-up. And of course, by moving in, you eliminate Nick Conti. Well, what were I could have been thinking of and all that? And he accused me of everything. The rest is up to the audience. For your filthy mind and all. Let them supply the emotion. I let them talk. Let them tell me where he went. I let him talk. Let them tell me what he's doing. And at the end of it, I said, excuse me, sir, I don't quite understand what you mean. Now, please be more explicit. He will tell me, where did Richard County go? There was a three-man board, if I recall correctly, and the first man to talk was a rather youngish guy who immediately lit into me like a 75-millimeter howitzer, you know, and said, how dare I shoot a scene as filthy as that, and what would I could have been thinking of and all that, and he accused me of everything, having a filthy mind and all. Where you tell me that? Where'd he go? I let him talk. I said, how do you think this idea? He may have gone off the stage for a glass of water. I don't know. What are you referring to?
We're moving in when it's daylight. We don't want to shoot unless you make it.
Things ain't got Cody's gas. They haven't got Cody's gas. Yeah, they haven't.
You might as well come down, Jared. There's no one left but you.
Come and get me!
What's holding him up?
And at the end of it, I said, "Excuse me, sir, I don't quite understand what you mean." Well, they allowed it. Well, tell me, where did Richard Connie go? I don't know what's wrong with dialing into a head close-up of the young lady. Where you tell me that? Where'd he go? Now, please be more explicit. Stage for a glass of water. I don't know. Well, tell me, where did Richard Connie go? I let him talk. Where, you tell me that, where'd he go? I let him talk. I said, I haven't the vaguest idea. He may have gone off the stage for a glass of water. I don't know.
I hear extraditions, Arizona's a stench.
What are you referring to?
Where's that soul?
With my baby blue eyes.
Noir is the emergence of a more psychological phenomenon, which is that men have always been endangered by a strong sexual female. They're extremely driven, selfish, ambitious characters, which are generally characteristics associated with male characters.
Hey, deviants, better stop eating those patty cakes, they'll kill ya.
Leave me alone!
Raven! You hear me, Raven?
We gotta move again.
Kiss me, Mike. I want you to kiss me.
Playing it on for size has become part of our language now, but
Kiss me.
he was the first one to ever write that line.
The liar's kiss
says I love you.
Nice and quiet.
I want you to kiss me. Kiss me. I want you to kiss me. Kiss me.
Sweet smell of a great sorrow lies over the land. Looms as low cries, merging to the leaden sky. Man lies and dreams, green fields and rivers. Waits till the morning, with no reason for waiting.
Hey, he's a beautiful. Hey, he's a beautiful Abraham Scott.
He's haunted by the memory of a lost paradise. He's due for a dream, he can't be precise. He's chained forever to a world that's departed. It's not enough, it's not enough.
Tell us about Bill Noir. And I said, what's Bill Noir? And he said, tell us about Bill Noir. And I said, what's Bill Noir?
The liar's kiss says I love you.
Man there plays American music for done. Sip bourbon and shut your eyes. Like a little place on 56th.
I wear my earrings.
I sometimes go there.
Jacques Teneur. At that time, didn't speak English very well.
Margaret will be giving up her job in a few months.
Don't kid yourself, darling. I'll take the 6 weeks maternity leave, and then Junior is going to have a nice nurse. You forget that you married a girl with a career.
You can see it in art and iconography throughout the ages, that that's a dangerous figure. A powerful sexual female is a very dangerous figure. And I think in film noir, what you see is the combination of things in a female that you don't see in film, especially American film very often. She's very smart, she's very powerful, and she's extremely sexual.
And he, in speaking of the part, he said to me, you know the word impassive? And I said, yes, I know that word. He says, that's what I want, impassive. I said, yes, I know I can do that. He says, no big eyes. No big eyes.
You've got a nice build for a private detective.
I tried not to. And he said, first half, good girl.
It gets me around.
Last half, bad girl.
You can't bribe them, you can't corrupt them, you can't even seduce them in many cases.
And he said, first half, good girl.
You drop this?
Last half, bad girl.
She uses her sexuality to get what she's after, and what she's after is not the man in the picture. He's another tool. What she's after is something for herself. The Spider Woman of film noir is identified a lot of real obvious ways. First, through her sexuality.
I tried not to. And he said, first half, good girl. Last half, bad girl. That's all I needed to know. And that was the direction.
They tend to be characters who have long hair, tight clothes, long fingernails that are actually often composed as claws.
And then he stuck to that, and it was wonderful.
They often smoke.
It was easy for me, too, because I knew what I was doing.
Which has always been the sign of the woman of loose morals.
I just had to figure out when that half was. No, I knew when I killed my first victim.
You often have examples of women controlling the composition by being shot in low angle, and then you cut to a shot of a man shot from high angle. So that they have a visual dominance.
The classic femme fatale to me is a woman that's usually getting the man into bed and then into trouble.
He wouldn't have killed him.
Call police.
That's usually getting the man into bed and then into trouble. That's usually getting the man into bed and then into trouble.
Hey, you seen anything?
He would have beaten him up and thrown him out.
Didn't have to do it.
And I loved playing them because that's the kind of a character that people never forget.
You wouldn't have killed him. You've been against us.
Alfred, why? They love to hate me.
Gone to wit.
What do you want? What are you waiting to see?
What kind of a man you are. You really are.
Try it on your own, man.
You don't mind my sizing you up a little?
I'm trying you.
Most of us were ex-cops. I worked for the DA, got fired.
They also referred to my eyes as bedroom eyes.
Private, I could take you anywhere. You
And that didn't fit very well
go down to the ghetto, you could go into the underworld.
for a goody-goody wife
But you could also go into the haunts of the rich and famous.
or a nice little girlfriend.
It gave you access to almost any level of society.
Somebody tending the home.
It was a nice little front yard.
Not strong or weak enough.
Cozy. What is there about a hoodlum that appeals to certain women? Okay for the average family.
Hoodlums,
Only you need a compass to go to the mailbox.
detectives.
The house was all right, too, but
Woman doesn't care how a man makes his living. Only how he makes love.
it wasn't as big as Buckingham Palace.
There's a certain kind of male fantasy to this violent woman who is uncontrollable, kind of like an untamed animal. And, I think there's something very seductive about that.
So appealing, so dangerous, so lovely to look at. The darling of London, England, Miss Annie Laurie Starr.
Somebody tamed and compliant is less seductive.
I had to wait while she sold me to the old folks.
The fact that it's unobtainable, you touch it, it'll scratch you,
It was like waiting to buy a crypt.
is very attractive.
Mausoleum.
I think people like to play with fire.
Mr. Marlowe.
I've looked everywhere. I haven't seen a thing, sir. Hey, get up to that clothesline. Some doings tonight. A cop wherever you sit.
We just collected acts. Yes, and the whole thing was a challenge and a lot of fun, especially to have it turn out very well and become a kind of a legend.
One viewing, a regular audience would look at it and say it's a gangster picture and really enjoyable and this is great and the bad guy gets his at the end and all that. But when you go, but there's something extra about it. There's something glowing from the screen that comes out of the whites of it. It goes like silver. You can really see the silver and the nitrate coming through.
I wanted a beautiful, innocent, lovable young lady.
Mitchum was a lovely man. He really looked after me. I mean, what did I know?
Turn around. You're on the wrong track, pal. Wrong track with the wrong man.
Bob. Mitchell was going to do a picture, about to do a picture with Elizabeth Scott, all the big steel. They had wardrobed for the part. They had done everything, you know, whatever you have to do, rehearsal or whatever. They were to start the following Tuesday. On Thursday, Bob was arrested for consuming marijuana cigarettes. Bob Mitchell. Bob Mitchell. Bob Mitchell was going to do a picture, about to do a picture with Elizabeth Scott, all the big steel. They were to start the following Tuesday. On Thursday, Bob was arrested for consuming marijuana cigarettes. And, I mean, the heavens opened up.
Actor Robert Mitchum, actors Lila Leeds and two companions, were arrested last night on suspicion of violating the narcotics law. Mitchum gave his age as 31 and his address is 3372 Oak Glen Drive. Arresting officers of the Federal Narcotics Bureau said they had been keeping an eye on Mitchum for 8 months, and Miss Leeds had been under suspicion for 6 months. Mitchum immediately surrendered a package of 15 marijuana cigarettes, and Miss Leeds surrendered several others, according to the officers.
Elizabeth Scott decided she would not be a party to this, and she withdrew from the picture. And they scouted around all over town, and I know because I was very close with Joan Bennett in those days. She was offered, this one was, everybody was offered this part. So they were desperate. And finally someone said, "What about Jane Greer?" Now you've done it. What'd you have to get me into it for?
Into what? I don't know what I got myself into.
The Inspector General's office. You're going to have some explaining to do.
Mitchum was sentenced to 60 days in jail, followed by 2 years probation. The court made a special dispensation that he could do some of the shooting for the big steel before serving his sentence.
It did have an effect on your career, did it not, though?
Probably, yeah, it made it a bit more circumstantial. Well, I couldn't play, for instance, Eagle Scouts or Baptist preachers. But I tell you one thing, it certainly enlisted an enormous number of new fans.
This is Film Noir here on Over the Edge, KPFA, KPFB, Berkeley, KFCF, headed to Fresno.
RKO was so nervous about how the cinema-going public would react to Mitchum's misdemeanor that they sent him on a nationwide promotional tour to test public reaction.
Hello, this is Robert Mitchum. I'm in Cincinnati. How's it going?
He acted like Mitchum, and he served his sentence and came out, and everybody thought that was the end of Mitchum's career. Well, it wasn't at all. Mitchum, everybody was kind of fascinated by this. Now, maybe if it had been Farley Granger or some attractive young guy with a different kind of image, it would have been a different thing. But Mitchum, they like Mitchum to be a little dangerous, a little reckless, a little the kind of things that he was. That's the character he played, and that's the kind of person he was.
The thing about a woman, she used to beat me. Took the bad blood out of me.
But Mitchum, they like Mitchum to be a little dangerous, a little reckless, a little the kind of things that he was. That's
Well, certainly Chandler and Hammett
My old man was hanged. My mother died right after that, and I went to live with that woman. My aunt. She beat me from the time I was pretty till I was 14. One day she caught me reaching for a piece of chocolate. She was saving it for a cake. Crummy piece of chocolate. She hit me with a red-hot flat iron. Smashed my wrist with it. I grabbed the knife. I let her have it. In the throat. Stuck a label on me. Killer. Shoved me in a reform school and they beat me there too. But I'm glad I killed her. What's the use? Nothing I can do.
There is something you can do. Don't kill anymore. You're just killing her all over again. That's all you're doing. You don't really want to get Gates.
What do you want me to do? Send him some candy?
I want you to make him spill the whole works. Who's behind him, names, everything. I want to find confessions. That's more important than killing him. It's important to your country.
Who is a demon? Who is vicious? And yet could charm you.
Hammett and Chandler, who were the most successful ones who came out of the Pulps. And then you have writers like James Cain, who dealt with similar material, but who never really lowered themselves to writing for the Pulps. I think Cain probably thought he was a bit above that kind of writing.
James M. Cain had an enormous influence, an enormous effect on all writers.
The speed limit in this state, Mr. Knapp, 45 miles an hour.
How fast was I going, officer?
I'd say around 90.
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Suppose I let you off with a warning this time.
Suppose it doesn't take.
Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
Well?
He wrote with a meat cleaver, is what it was. He wrote with a hatchet.
The classic Cain situation, always the triangle, the guy falling in love with the other guy's wife, and
You're stinking, you leave me alone!
you're killing the woman's husband,
Although when you promise to leave the food where it is, you're drunk, you don't know what you're doing.
and then coming to no good end.
You boys stick here, some of you. Hey, get out of there! What are you doing that for? What are you honking the horn for?
Life's a dangerous game.
especially with a new breed of woman who's working all the angles, making her own rules.
Will you promise?
All right.
Film Noir had a set of rules. Censorship, the Hays Production Code. It was Hollywood's law.
You hurt me.
Moral guidelines and ethical standards from a church social.
I'm sorry, but...
It's hot in here. Open up the window.
The line you couldn't cross.
Hot.
Don't tell me. Now, do you do it or do I do it?
Well, I'm going to surprise you. It had a very good effect.
You're no gentleman, see?
Yeah. Because it made us think.
All right.
In other words, if we wanted to get something across that was censorable, we couldn't do it openly.
At the window. Open the door.
We had to do it deviously.
I got the two of them together, and I said, Peggy, you are a female dog in heat. And you, John, you're a male dog in heat. And you meet for the first time. Now, you don't know whether one or the other is going to attack. And so you size each other up. And I want all that desire to come out.
We had to be clever. And it usually turned out to be much better than if we had done it straight.
I love the sense of doom in it, and I love the sense of you can just see it coming.
Open the door. Here, open the door. Don't... Ellen, you've got to tell me, where'd he go? Listen to me.
I want a guy with...
Put that thing away.
Guts.
That sense of romantic longing and obsession, and knowing that what you are doing is doomed.
It allows one's imagination to take over.
And you can't stop from doing it.
Hey, he said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? Also, this is interesting, by the way, I think, from a technical point of view. I wanted to make it very well.
There's almost a giddy euphoria of being able to use lights and the dramatic use of lights in those late 40s, early 50s films.
Well, also, this is interesting, by the way, I think, from a technical point of view. Also, this is interesting, by the way, I think, from a technical point of view.
There's almost a giddy euphoria of being able to use lights and the dramatic use of lights in those late 40s, early 50s films.
And we had to agree to, as I say, make it very cheaply. Now, also, this is interesting, by the way, I think, from a technical point of view.
There's almost a giddy euphoria and the dramatic use of lights in those late 40s, early 50s films.
I wanted to make it very well.
There's an element in film noir, the way light and shadow is used in such extreme contrast, that is almost religious or spiritual or philosophical.
So I looked into the records and I found that normally on the average picture at that time, 80% of the time was taken in preparation and lighting and all that kind of thing, and perhaps 20 minutes with rehearsal and with getting the film. I wanted to reverse that. So the cameraman was with
the age-old Manichaeist dialectic of light against dark, good against evil.
Light very quickly.
You can turn it off off now, Buster. You're wasting your battery.
And as a photographer will understand, it was a lot faster to light the people and then throw a couple of big shadows on the wall, and you had your thing.
When you look at the film noir film, the lighting complements that. Good against evil.
Turn it off now, Buster. You're wasting your battery.
And when you look at the...
In the old days, if they were to light a wall, every fixture would be lit, would have its own three-point lighting.
Buster, you're wasting your battery.
In this case...
And when you look at the film noir film...
we didn't have the time.
Light sources themselves become part of the content of the scene.
So we got that kind of shadowy, high-contrast lighting.
Light sources themselves become part of the content of the scene.
Susie, what are you doing here in the dark? What are you doing here in the dark? What are you doing here in the dark?
Very bright, hot sources and very deep, deep shadows.
And used wide-angle lenses to get character, not for depth of focus, because that I hate.
Very bright, hot sources and very deep, deep shadows.
Well, can we turn the light on now?
But to get different kinds of character.
No, we can't.
In Crossfire, I started out with Bob Ryan with a 50-millimeter lens.
Because of all the things that had happened during the war, the development of faster film stocks, the development of portable cameras, smaller dollies, more contained lighting units, it was possible to go out at night on the streets using the lights in a very controlled, dramatic way. It's possible to go out at night on the streets using the lights in a very controlled, dramatic way. The sense of the frame, the world being essentially black.
Because I wanted him to be perfectly normal.
Which it is at night.
As we gradually went along, I went to a 40, to a 35, and eventually in the last third of the picture, everything I shot with him was with a 25.
And what you see is what you choose to define and pick out with a little bit of light.
To that slight subliminal distortion, which made him a different kind of a character.
Those late 40s, early 50s films.
Put on the lights again, Cora, please.
All right, waste your money.
We wanted to spend as little time with the mechanics, lighting a set, that kind of thing, setups, to give ourselves more time with the actors. And that's a very essential part of film. To get the best possible scenes out of it. Most people don't know. With film noir, what you did is, you want to light that? Throw a shadow on it. And that's a very essential part of film noir, which most people don't know. Get a gobo, and that's all. The shadow did it. And that's all. That's a very essential part of film noir, which most people don't know. The shadow did it. It's a lot faster.
It's the perfect externalization of those characters, a trapped character. There is no light, there is no release, there is no escape.
I don't like you, Robert.
Things are very terrifying and mysterious if you
Oh, gentlemen, see?
can't see them.
You hurt my hand.
So your imagination is forced to take over, which
And I'm gonna get even with you.
I think is probably the key to how noir material works on the subconscious.
To light the people and then throw a couple of big shadows on the wall and you had your thing. It was a lot faster.
In here, Walter.
The lighting technique that became a signature of the noir films was the use of the Venetian blind, which was a very effective and quick way for the director of photography to create an interesting and unusual lighting pattern on an otherwise blank wall, and would create very interesting psychological effects depending upon the way they were slanted and adjusted. Almost universally in noir films, you see a tremendous sparseness in the production design. Sets have very simple and functional furniture. The walls tend to be just painted flats. They have the visual environment to create a tremendous sense of dramatic isolation and alienation.
Like the people and then throw a couple of big shadows on the wall and you had your thing.
And that was part of the whole conceit of noir, using lighting techniques to alter the space psychologically.
To like the people and then throw a couple of big shadows on the wall and you had your thing. In the old days, if they were to light a wall, every fixture would be lit, would have its own 3-point lighting. In this case, we didn't have the time.
You can't underestimate the German influence in it all. And all the German expatriates who were filling the ranks of the Hollywood crafts and as well as directors and writers.
Fritz Lang did a trilogy of, I guess you could say, early gangster films of the movie. Almost a giddy euphoria.
So we got that kind of shadowy, high contrast lighting. And used wide-angle lenses to get character, not for depth of focus, because that I hate.
That's him, huh?
We found it in the patching cell. We killed it.
What do you want? My name's Raven. Don't answer it.
The material is not completely exemplified.
But to get different kinds of character.
Haven't you tried to buy my loyalty with money and nothing else?
What else is there I can buy you with?
And it gleams, the movie, and when you go to look at it... And the use of the X's and the crosses every time somebody gets killed, you don't notice it at first. Somebody has to point it out to you, and then it's more fun when you see the film a second time. The use of music. When Anne Dvorak tries to dance, she tries to get George Raft to dance with her. Just watch that scene. How the camera, how she moves. It's a very special film.
Like that music?
Look, I don't want to look in that mirror and see nothing but a stick-up man staring back at me.
For oil, sometimes you hit a gush. Susan, tell me, come on. What's bothering you?
The scene in the film Big Combo with Nick Conte kissing her on the eyebrow and down on the cheek.
You better kiss me goodbye, Bart. Because I won't be here when you get back. Come on, Bart. Let's finish it the way we started it. On the level.
These people live right on the edge. And a lot of people identify. with that. It's something that you react to emotionally. Love in film noir usually takes the form of obsession. It's usually a perversion.
Like a falling leaf,
and the shifting past. Sometimes the treasured things are not the things that last. And we know where we stand between fear and desire. With one fist raised in anger, with one foot in the fire, we are dust and shadow.
So it becomes much more passionate. It becomes more deadly.
Dust and shadow.
Everything is on the edge. And therefore they burn it up fast. And therefore they burn it up fast.
We are the hungry ghosts.
They burn up life faster.
Goodbye, baby.
You say you found this dynamite in the bathroom? Pete found it. Show him the dynamite, Pete.
You don't open the door, I'm going to kick it down, Vera.
What is that?
All the pride and shame, all the bone and glass, these kind of fragile things will never go last. Oh, praise the living boy, and you my millionaire.
You say you found this dynamite in the bathroom?
You go alone and leave the light on. At the top of the stairs, we are dust and shadow.
There's an element in film noir, the way light and shadow is used in such extreme contrast, that is almost religious. Fritz Lang did a trilogy of, I guess you could say, early gangster films. The Booza trilogy, which had a tremendous influence not only in German cinema, but I think also in this country. Even going back before that, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Hey, he said, tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir?
Sets were built in false perspective, tremendous sense of light and dark contrast, tilted angles, foregrounding of objects. These themes became very prominent, I think, in film noir.
Objects are not things that happen to be in a room. Objects are things that we deal with in living. So floors are objects. The position of people towards each other are objects. When you make a movie, you are paying attention to everything all the time, or else you're not making a movie.
Thank you for being conscientious. A visual record is being taken and filed with the Department of Biological Flow. You have 20 seconds to
All right, make the appropriate correction.
That's it.
Check the grid line. Should be 1239er, 1239er. All right, now watch it. You're going to override again.
Bring it down.
Predicting the past with memories of the future. We're way ahead of you're behind at the Universal Media Network.
You're right next to it.
That's right.
What's wrong?
I just bought one of these yesterday, and it doesn't fit my consumer, and the store doesn't have any of the other kind.
For more enjoyment and greater efficiency, consumption is being standardized. We are sorry.
This is City Probe Scanner. We've run across some illegal sexual activity. It should be on your DTO screen now. Relay to investigating officer.
Finished addressing the local citizenry on the need for caution and pulling together at a time like this. Have a list of people I'm going to want some background checks on, including a lady who carries a log. They call her the Log Lady. One suspect remains at large, James Hurley, a young biker who was secretly seeing Laura behind her boyfriend's back. A blowhard named Bobby Briggs. I anticipate that James will be in custody within the hour, and probably released shortly thereafter. Lots of hidden currents and eddies, concealing their own secrets. I haven't even broken the surface yet. Diane? 12:28 a.m. Looks like I'll be staying locally at a place called the Great Northern Hotel. Sheriff's getting me a rate.
What's up, Doc? before I go to sleep. I feel like I'm gonna dream tonight. Big bad ones, you know? The kind you like. It's easier talking into the recorder. I guess I feel I can say anything. All my secrets. The naked ones. I know you like those, Doc. I know you like me too. That'll be my little secret, okay? Just like your coconut.
Sounds like the kind of place where when you lie down, you won't forget to dream.
Why is it so easy to make men like me?
I was right about our suspect, James Hurley.
And I don't even have to try very hard.
He's in custody and will be out by morning.
Maybe if it was harder.
Good night, Agent Cooper.
Hey, remember that mystery man I told you about? Well, if I tell you his name, then you're gonna be in trouble.
By the way, the Great Northerner's up on Metal Arc Hill. Well, that's just below Whitetail Mountain. That's a little bit west of here, but not too far.
He wouldn't be such a mystery man anymore, but you might be history man.
West.
I think a couple of times he's tried to kill me.
Diane, if you could bottle this air, people would line up around the block.
But guess what? As you know, I sure got off on it. Sex weird. This guy can really fight my F-I-R-E.
Somebody, although probably not me, could make a fortune. But isn't that always the way?
Make it right. Bye-bye.
Diane, 6:18 a.m., room 315. Great Northern Hotel up here in Twin Peaks. Slept pretty well. Non-smoking room, there's no tobacco smell. That's a nice consideration for the business traveler. A hint of Douglas fir needles in the air. As Sheriff Truman indicated they would, everything this hotel promised, they've delivered. Clean, reasonably priced accommodations. Telephone works, bathroom in really tip-top shape, no drips, plenty of hot water, and good steady pressure that could be a side benefit of the waterfall outside my window. Mattress firm, but not too firm, and no lumps, like that time I told you about down in El Paso. What a nightmare that was. But of course you've heard me tell that story once or twice, haven't you, Diane? Haven't tried the television set yet. Looks like cable, probably no reception problems. But the true test of any hotel, as you well know, Diane, is that morning cup of coffee, which I'll be getting back to you about within a half hour. Diane, it struck me again earlier this morning. There are two things that continue to trouble me, and I'm speaking now not only as an agent of the Bureau, but also as a human being. What really went on between Marilyn Monroe and the Kennedys?
Close your eyes. This is such stuff as dreams are made of.
The Universal Media Network.
The black dog runs at night. The black dog runs at night. The black dog runs at night. The black dog runs at night.
What you're doing is just photographing something.
The black dog runs at night.
What are you trying to do?
The black dog runs at night. The black dog runs at night. The black dog runs at night.
Let's go.
You say you found this dynamite in the bathroom.
One more drink. Man, I'm going. This button, it rings the alarm and opens the doors. For 15 years, dressing you, nursing you, cleaning you, listening to your dirty tears. Go ahead, wipe them out.
We got business to do.
Vera, don't call the cops.
I hate people like that.
I'll do anything you say. Vera, let me in. I'll break the phone.
I was like a guy suffering from shock. Things were whirling around in my head. Things were whirling around in my head. I couldn't make myself think right. I couldn't make myself think right. All I could think of was the guy with the saxophone and what he was playing. Things were whirling around in my head. All I could think of was the guy with the saxophone and what he was playing. It wasn't a love song. It was a dirge.
Things were whirling around in my head. I couldn't make myself think right. I wish that guy with the sax would give up. It's on my nerves. I was like a guy suffering from shock. All I could think of was the guy with the saxophone and what he was playing. It was a dirge. Let's go.
See, thunder's dynamite here, that.
Pete found it. It's on the dynamite, Pete. The world is full of skeptics. I know.
See, thunder's dynamite here, that.
Pete. I want myself. In the Haskell business, how many of you would believe he fell out of the car? Now, after killing Zero without really meaning to do it. Who are you selling that gas to?
Like a young man who knows a good thing, Raven. Why don't you...
Do what he said, he'll kill you. How many of you would believe it wasn't premeditated? In a jury room, every last man of you would go down shouting that she had me over a barrel and my only out was force. The room was still. So quiet that for a while I wondered if I had suddenly gone deaf. It was pure fear, of course. And I was hysterical.
And who really pulled the trigger on JFK?
But without making a sound. It was pure fear, of course. And I was hysterical. But without making a sound.
Whining!
I'll tell you, that new gas formula, he sold it to the highest bidder.
Help me!
I just looked at Rear Window again on the weekend.
Found it. It's on the dynamite, Pete. Trying to strap you to the electric chair.
Can't you do something to help me? We don't like it when innocent people are blown to jelly in our town.
Noir photography really was concerned with showing characters in environment.
They'll make you pay for that.
They're trying to railroad me. I don't know why. I never stole any dynamite.
So the deep focus for...
And you have this incredible moment where he's sitting alone and suddenly a shadow covers his face. And he opens his eyes and you see this beautiful face of Grace Kelly come into frame. And this point of view is just, you're there, you are him. You are him at that moment, and you're just seeing the most beautiful face.
Can't you do something to help me?
It's very, very seductive. The point of view means that it's exactly, as much as possible, exactly the way the character is seeing a scene.
Vera was dead. And I was her murderer. Murderer. What an awful word that is. But I'd become one. I'd better not get caught. What evidence there was around the place had to be destroyed. And from the looks of things, there was plenty. Looking around the room at things we'd bought was like looking into the faces of 100 people who'd seen us together and who remembered me. This was the kind of testimony I couldn't rub out. No. I could burn clothes and hide bottles for the next 5 years. There'd always be witnesses. The landlady, for one. She could identify me. The car dealer, the waitress in the drive-in, the girl in the dress shop, and that guy in the liquor store. They could all identify me.
Deep focus was used in conjunction with wide-angle lenses. It was also used as an economical way of staging a scene without having to do a lot of coverage. A foreground actor would appear quite close to camera.
Is it true? Are those UFOs actually props from a 1960s horror film? We'll discuss at the next level.
Well, I'm waiting.
Running and hunting and slashing and crushing and searching and seeing and stabbing and shooting and thrashing and smashing and burning, destroying and killing and eating and eating and death.
For the Japanese.
One final double cross.
Well, I'm waiting.
A background actor would come in, they might play a dialogue scene in one shot.
I was cooked. Done for. I had to get out of there. While once I'd remained beside a dead body, planning carefully how to avoid being accused of killing him, this time I couldn't. This time I was guilty. Knew it. Felt it. I was like a guy suffering from shock. Things were whirling around in my head. I couldn't make myself think right. But my problems weren't solved. I was like a guy suffering from shock.
Kind of get going with the music, you know, dance around.
I couldn't make myself think right.
Well, what is that?
I couldn't make myself think right.
Think like what?
Well,
what?
Well, I'm waiting.
We were waiting for what?
Well?
My goose was cooked. My goose was cooked. Cooked. She had me. I was like a guy suffering from shock.
We were in shock because she gives you goosebumps.
That's right. Things were whirling around in my head. Whichever way you turn, fate sticks out a foot to trip you.
You need to watch out for that giant Gila monster, okay?
Things were whirling around in my head.
Well, I'm waiting.
Well, you're waiting for what?
Two actors not looking at each other.
I had to stay away from New York for all time.
Believe me, it was Brewster.
There's something else.
Because Al Roberts was listed as dead and had to stay dead. Try to kill that girl. That girl's my friend.
You got your friend, she told the police. They called me up. You lie.
But on the darker side of human nature, black film resident London. But on the darker side of human nature.
She had me. And I could never go back to Hollywood. Someone might recognize me as Haskell.
Noir poses the question, why me? Why is this happening to me? The very dark answer that it provides. An almost unacceptable answer. no reason. For no reason at all.
Or you see the person. There's so many point of view shots you could deal with in terms of Hitchcock. There's a few that I really like in The Wrong Man. There's a moment, I think, when Henry Fonda is brought to all these places that were robbed, and they tell the woman, take a look at that. There's that fellow doesn't look like that guy over there that robbed you.
It's the same.
That's one of the films we studied for Taxi Driver, where utilizing this idea of the point of view where everything goes through Travis Bickle's mind and his eyes. You see everything as much as possible in the film through him. And that's one of the reasons we studied The Wrong Man, because it has that feeling of claustrophobia and paranoia that was so perfect for a Taxi Driver.
Someday a real rain will come and wash all this scum off the streets.
What it does is it draws you right in to their world the way they see it, the way they imagine it, the way they, their perception.
There was Jimmy and Tommy and me, and there was Anthony Stabile.
How you doing? You see the person walk in the room and he's standing there, and then you cut to see what he sees, but the camera starts to move. It becomes his point of view. And people sort of talk towards the camera. I did one of those in Goodfellas, where everybody's saying, hi, how are you? Where they're introducing all the gangsters hanging out at that Bamboo Lounge, where they're all speaking. They're not talking to the camera, they're talking to the left of the camera, which is the main character.
Then you had Nicky Eyes.
What's up, guy?
And Mikey Francesi.
Oh, that guy, yeah, I want to see him.
And Jimmy Two Times.
What's up, guy?
And Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice. Got that nickname because he said everything twice. Right.
I'm gonna go get the papers.
Right.
I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers. Get the papers.
Right.
I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers.
I was so enamored of the Eisenstein editing, the montage, and Podofkin, and I would play in my NYU, would play and make up images that way, and make them up in my head, and draw the pictures and figure out how many frames I'd have to shoot and where I'd have to cut. And
In the film Big Combo with Nick Conti.
true enough, a lot of that worked. You see a lot of that in Raging Bull.
Foreground actor looking out this way, the background actor looking at the back of the foreground actor's head. They really can't see each other, but they're playing a scene together.
I'm here to arrest you, Emmerich.
It's fine for the audience because the audience can see both actors quite clearly.
May I ask for a call?
And the conceit seemed to work. Of course, it wouldn't work today because you'd want to see close-ups, you'd want to see the actors turn to each other. But it was a quite common method of shooting sometimes a 3-4 minute scene in one shot. Because
an extreme MTV cutting.
they had very short shooting schedules.
Get the young lady.
Psycho was a very big revolution in cutting for certain scenes, like the shower scene. I was very influenced by all of those films which had editing that was not the standard classical form because they were exciting.
Anybody who was making a B picture wanted to make A pictures. So what we were trying to do was to impress somebody, usually the executives of the studio.
The studio was built in the hills of...
And you couldn't usually impress them with the subject matter.
Yeah, like, does this show have a name?
It was usually pretty trite.
Yeah, I know that.
Hey, he's a...
I'm looking for a name of... Tell us about film noir. And I said, what's film noir? Film noir. And he said, tell us about film noir. Well, I've been hearing about it all night. And I said, what's film noir?
You couldn't impress them with the acting, which was not usually of the best, but you could impress them with setups, for instance.
Then, too, there was Sue. I could never go to her with a thing like this hanging over my head.
At the level of style, I would say that the biggest changes come from a generation of directors who have tried to blend or fuse the traditions of Hollywood with traditions borrowed from European art cinema.
All I could do was pray she'd be happy. I was in Bakersfield before I read that Vera's body was discovered, and that the police were looking for Haskell in connection with his wife's murder. Isn't that a laugh? Haskell got me into this mess, and Haskell was getting me out of it.
I learned about setups on big pictures primarily because I had to be inventive as hell.
Is there anyone else out there in limbo with me, or is it just me?
I couldn't make myself think right.
Well, I'm not really sure if it's just me, but I was wondering if I was the only one out here in limbo, because I would like to say hi to all of you people out there.
Police were searching for a dead man. I keep trying to forget what happened.
The basic action in Chinatown is very simple. It's called Find the Girl, and it's very clear because in a scene it's actually said, just find the girl.
I wanted the executives who were looking at the rushes the next day to look and say, hey, that guy's got, that guy really knows where to put his camera.
I couldn't make myself think right.
And wonder what my life might have been if that car of Haskell's hadn't stopped. But one thing I don't have to wonder about, I know. Someday a car will stop to pick me up that I never thumbed. Yes, fate, or some mysterious force, can put the finger on you or me for no good reason at all.
I guess that's what happened, all right. This has been Film Noir over the edge, KPFA, KPFB, Berkeley, KMCF in Fresno. I don't know what's happening next week. I haven't quite decided. I may not even be here if I can. Stay tuned for the Puzzling Evidence show.
Operator disconnect.